In 2009, author and researcher Brene Brown posed a question to her blog readers. That question would forever change my life. The question was, can you really love anyone more than you love yourself? This question came at a period in my life that caused me to take a lot of time for self-reflection and self-evaluation. If I were to give this speech 10 years ago, I don't think that I've had the values and the insights to offer that I do have today. I'm hoping that through my experiences, I share them with you, you might be able to take something of value back with you. Today, I hope to share with you 3 things. The first thing is I hope to share with you some of my weaknesses. The second is I hope to share with you my strengths. And the third is I hope to share with you the thing that I think is the most important thing that you can use in developing a better self-concept. Back in 2008, before Brene Brown made that statement, I was living the perfect life. I had the perfect home, and I kept it perfectly clean, and my children were perfectly groomed. I volunteered in my children's school, I volunteered in the community, and I even served a term in the town council. Of course, at that point in my life, I really didn't understand the fallacy of perfection. You probably realized that it didn't take long for all of that to come crashing down, and I soon found myself a single mother living on a limited income and struggling to survive. When you're in survival mode, often perfection is not even an option. And I had to give up my perfection, and it was unwillingly. And at this point, many of my weaknesses came in and became dominant in my life. I ruminated, and I believed that I didn't deserve this, and I didn't want divorce, but I let divorce define who I was. I let other people's opinion define who I was. And I started to believe that I wasn't a good person. I created a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it became debilitated for me emotionally, and it was a real struggle. And then I came across those words of Brene Brown's. Everyone wants to believe that they love their children more than anything in this world. And I wanted to believe that too, but then I recognized, can I really love my children more than I love myself? If I can't love myself when my house is dirty, and if I can't love myself when I've made mistakes, what am I teaching my children? Am I teaching my children that they're not worthy for love? I think that that's the case. When I pondered this question that Brene Brown had posed, I recognized that I needed to start looking at what my strengths were. My strengths were that I was a lifelong learner. I love learning, and I utilized that. I dove into books and research, and I tried to learn about emotions and attachment, and I recognized that I was a leader and that I was good at motivating people, and I took those strengths and I started to build on them. I started to use self-talk, and I would say, I'm going to do this, and then I would say that out loud to other people. And as I set goals and set things out loud to other people, I was more likely to fulfill those goals. I was more likely to follow through and to do the things that I wanted to do. And I began to see my life change. And as anything in life, change comes very hard, and it comes slowly. And I thought I'd reached a point where I was in a really good place. I had remarried, and I became a stepmother, and this is what it took to make me fall right back to where I was. As a stepmother, I wanted everyone to think I was the perfect stepmother. I wanted to be the perfect wife. I wanted everyone to view me perfectly. The only thing was, there was the problem of what I call the fallacy of the wicked stepmother. There's a belief of what role stepmothers should play, and for most people, it's a huge misconception. They don't really understand. And as I tried to fulfill what I thought other people wanted me to be socially as a stepmother, I fell back into that fallacy of perfection. I started to define myself by what other people's opinions of me were. And I still tried to do it, but I did take one of my strengths, and I thought, I'm going to learn. I'm going to dive in, and I'm going to learn everything I need to know about becoming a stepmother, and I'm going to find the golden answer, the answer to being the perfect stepmother. Well, as perfection doesn't exist, so does the answer to being the perfect stepmother. But I did fall into an answer that has forever changed my life, and the answer was acceptance. Acceptance of who I am, acceptance of where I am, acceptance of everyone around me. I can love myself. I can accept myself when my house is not clean. I can accept my children even when they make mistakes. I can accept my husband. I can accept my circumstances without blaming other people, without ruminating, and without feeling sorry for myself. Which takes me back to that question that Brene Brown asked 10 years ago. Can you really love anyone more than you love yourself? I believe you can't. I believe the key to loving yourself is the ability to accept yourself as you are, to accept your weaknesses, to accept your strengths. It doesn't mean that you don't work on them. It means that you recognize them and that you love yourself regardless of where you're at and what place you're in. I hope that, if anything I've shared with you today, that you'll recognize how important acceptance is in your own life.